All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else in between, it is a thrill to have Theo and Lief with me again for the second edition of World Cup Unfiltered. And we are going to get straight to it. We're going to start with headlines. Each one of us is going to have a headline so far in the second group matches, and I will start. To me, this is anyone's World Cup to lose, but someone will eventually have to win it. Theo, what is your reaction to that?
Here I am just cheering for Argentina to have the winner's curse like any other World Cup winning team that won it previously and crashed out at the group stage. Regretfully, that's not the case for what's going on for Argentina though, but I do agree it's going to be anyone's World Cup if Argentina gets knocked out. So if any country is going to be gunning for Argentina, it should be a top team from Europe or from South America to get rid of them.
All right, Leif, what do you say about that?
I would have to agree. I'm not too keen on Argentina repeating, and I certainly hope they don't. It's nice to get new blood. To be a great story for Messi, but it's time for someone new, and it's probably going to come from Europe.
Okay. And on that topic, let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to have a toss-up topic number one. Which undefeated side should be more concerned about their chances for a deep run, England or Germany? Lief, we'll start with you.
England, their back line is trash.
Okay. Did they do okay today, you think? Or is Ghana just has no offense?
You know, Ghana is every time I've ever seen Ghana play, they're very, very difficult. I remember them playing against the United States. Pretty difficult team to get past and to beat. So I'm not going to sit there and put all the blame on England and say that, hey, you know, it's a game that they should have won. I think they should have won it, but I can understand how Ghana would pull one out. That being said, you're England. You need to beat Ghana. You didn't do it. Your back line is not very strong as far as I'm concerned. You got goalkeeping questions as far as I'm concerned. And even though Ghana didn't do anything with that, I think once you face some of the big boys like France, Spain, maybe even in Argentina, they're not going to last.
Okay. Theo, what do you say to that?
He's
England
right.
or Germany? England or Germany?
England has gold attackers, silver midfielders, dirt defenders. That's all I can see them right now. They're going to collapse in the defense.
Interesting. I'm going to cut against the grain here. I'm going to go with Germany because I'm not sure who the real Germans are right now at this point. They've done well. They're undefeated, but I'm just kind of wondering, what if they run into a buzzsaw? And what is going to happen if they fall, if they take a deficit? How will they react? Their manager is not very well heralded. Lief, can you attest to that?
Who do they got? Nagelsmann?
I believe so.
Is that their gaffer? Yeah. No, listen, Germany is in the middle of a rebuilding mode. I don't expect them to be there when it really matters. I think they'd get torn apart by France. I think they'd probably get beat up by Spain.
Right.
But I don't have faith in Germany or England. I just feel like being that I watch enough European football and specifically out of England, being an Arsenal fan, the way that the press acts like, oh, it's coming home, it's never coming home. It ain't happening. You're going to get knocked out. It just is what it is.
Okay, let's move on. Toss up topic number two. Which final group match is more intriguing? France versus Norway or Japan versus Sweden? Theo.
I'm going to have to go with France versus Norway.
Okay, explain.
People are just drooling to see Erling Haaland score more. While Sweden, I'm sorry, no, not Norway. France is Norway. I'm sorry. We want to see that big matchup because we're going to see if we're going to be what do you call it? How can I say? We're going to be getting sated. We're going to get sated by the big matchup between France and Norway because people wanted to see that big clash.
Mm-hmm.
France winning in 2018 versus up and coming Norway with Erling Haaland. Yeah, people are going to be drooling for that matchup. People wanted to see that matchup for a long time.
Can we? Would you believe that might be the highest ticket price wanted for a non-U.S. match? Would you concur with that?
I
By
agree. Yeah,
Friday?
it will be.
Okay, Leif, what about you? Which match?
Oh, listen, I want to desperately. I won't be able to, but I desperately want to watch France versus Norway live.
Mhm.
Just because I've seen, I know what Saliba can do against Holland, and
Mhm.
that I think bodes well for France. I think France maybe doesn't have the most complete team, but that
Right,
starting 11 is frighteningly good.
right.
And I think that's when you're going to start to see that Holland can do a lot of damage on his own. But when he
Mhm.
goes up against a real powerhouse, he's going to need the other 10 guys to step up and do something for him because he can't do it by himself against them.
On that note, Leaf, then yesterday's match against Norway and Senegal, which Norway got the better end of it. The question is, what was this more about? Was it about Norway showing its flaws or Senegal just not playing the way they're capable of playing given their roster?
Um, I always have so much fun watching Senegal after they upset France back in what was it 2002 in the opening game.
Mm-hmm.
They're just an absolute joy to watch. I
Yeah.
think anybody that beats them deserves the credit for it. I think Norway played a pretty solid game.
Did
I
they?
don't think
Okay.
they're a great team. I don't think
Right.
they're a great team by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
Odegaard is a pretty good attacking midfielder. I don't think he's elite,
Mm-hmm.
but he's pretty darn good.
Right.
But Holland is really what makes that team special. And
Right.
everything else outside of that, they're just really it's kind of like Iceland 4 years ago. There's
Right.
nothing overly special about them. They just happen to have one of arguably the top, what, 5 players in the world, period.
Right. Maybe
You
in
know?
some cases would argue top three. So
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
again, I'm going to cut against the grain. I am more intrigued by Japan versus Sweden. Now, this is a Blue Samurai back podcast. All three of us just love watching them play. But
Yeah.
I think this might be the first. And if you don't agree, say so. I think this is the first time Japan should be favored to win and expected to win convincingly for what they have demonstrated on the pitch between the Netherlands and Tunisia. To be fair, Tunisia sucks, and they've been reeling. But Japan just did what good teams do: get an advantage, get ahead, and stay ahead. And Sweden, to me, when the Netherlands just knocked them senseless. And if I'm Japan, I'm going to want to get up quick. If I'm wrong, someone say something.
No, you're not wrong.
All right.
You're not wrong, but Sweden does have a two-pronged attack that will give Japan nightmares.
Potentially.
I think Gyökeres and Isak are going to have a little bit of fun with Japan.
Right. But don't you think, but don't you think Sweden's defense is absolutely unimpressive?
Oh, they're unimpressive.
Yeah.
Just as a whole.
Right. I'm just thinking tactically, Japan's going to have a plan in the lower third, and and exploit some weaknesses. I think. But
I think so too.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to segment number 2, and that is report card and what we're going to grade. Topic number 1, what are we going to grade the FIFA refs and the VAR officials enforcing the new rules implemented in this World Cup? Red card for hand over mouth, Paraguay versus Turkey. Yellow card for mistaken identity, diving without being touched, Paraguay versus USA. 10-second sub-outs to leave the pitch. At VAR offsides review, etc. Leaf, what do you grade these people?
I'd probably give them a C plus. I think they've got a lot of things against them. A lot of people don't like the drink break, which
Right.
I oddly enough coming into it didn't think I was going to like. I've actually grown to like it, and I think it's quite interesting. Some of the calls, I don't particularly like the hand over the mouth call. I think that's kind of just taking it a little bit too far. I get the spirit of it. I understand what it's supposed to do, and I agree with that portion of it. But I think that was a little bit extreme, and I don't think that was necessary. Other than that, I think the refs have done a pretty solid job. I don't really have much to complain about. I give them a C because I really haven't paid much attention to them.
Okay. All right, Theo, where do you stand on this?
C plus. Definitely C plus. Refereeing could have been a whole lot better. We need to have more Pierluigi's Colinas in World Cup matches.
Oh yes.
That guy was a no nonsense referee. If we had more of those referees like him officiating World Cup matches, we had less shenanigans, more straight out gameplay. So C plus. VAR is helping out a lot. VAR helped out with the goal in the U.S. versus in the last game, so that helped out a lot. So C plus. It's getting better little by little.
Okay. I gave him an A minus because I thought there was some disruptions in play, and purists want to bitch, and I'll let them because I have this issue. I am sick and tired of divers who dive and trash talk without being held accountable. This shit needs to get out of the game. It needs to fucking go away, including this racist shit. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's like, be a stand-up guy with a pair between your legs and just say it right in front of their face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, this is cowardly. It's like, be a man, say it. It's like doing that. Fuck you. That stuff. That sort of thing. We are going to.
Yeah, but when you're.
Go ahead.
Ty, when you're lined up and you're getting ready to take a free kick, you don't want to sit there and go, okay, man, I'm going to kick it to the left. You want to be like, yo, I'm probably going to kick this over to the left. Make sure the line is doing the right thing.
Right.
That is different than going off and saying something.
Right.
Where you're covering your mouth intentionally. So
yeah.
I think there's different levels of this. And it feels to me, it's kind of like when the NFL was like the no fun league and they penalized you for partying in any way, shape, or form. There's stuff that just takes it too far.
Right.
And I think this was one of those that just took it a little bit too far in the spirit of the game and what was going on. That red card for, what was it, Almiron? That to me was just like, that was not necessary.
Okay. But again, Lief, this is why you're here, because if there's something I'm not accurate with, you're here to correct me, right?
Well, listen, I can't say that I'm 100% accurate, but I will definitely try and give my own opinion.
Right, but that's why we love you, man.
Fair.
Man. All right, moving on to the next subject that we're going to give a grade to. We are going to grade Fox's coverage of the World Cup so far. Who's doing great? Who should have never got hired in the first place? And Lief and I are locked arm in arm. We will give Fox credit for not putting Gus Johnson on any broadcast. And him and I have been locked arm in arm on this topic for decades. But however, Lief, grade the Fox broadcast presentation and who's doing good and who's not.
Listen, you're going to absolutely hate me because I'm going to tell you a quick little story. COVID happens. I got completely obsessed with F1, and I found out that I burned myself out on listening to people talking about F1. Mm-hmm. So with this World Cup, guess what I'm not doing? I'm not listening to Alexi Lawless because he's a brain-dead moron. I don't need to listen to him. Everything I've heard from Zlatan, it's Zlatan. He's perfect. Just be Zlatan. Have a good time. I'm an Arsenal guy. TT is flipping God to me. Like I'm going to ever say anything bad about him. Get over yourselves. Nope, he's been great. The announcers that I've heard, you know what? There's 48 bloody teams. It ain't like you're going to have that many guys that are superstars. So they're giving people chances. There's nothing that stuck out and made me go, please kill me right now because this is terrible. These are just horrible people. So far, I'm fine. Nothing stood out. Nothing's bothered me. So I'm going to give them a B. But I'm sure if I was paying attention, I'd be sitting here just scathing away.
Right. Okay. Now, there has been some word, but of course, this is on social media and the internet, that there's been some tension between Alexi Lawless and Zlatan and Thierry Henry. And if you look at the resumes, guess who has the weaker one? It's our countrymen's. Yep. So, I'm going to say before Theo goes into it in a moment, I really respect the resumes of Clarence Seedorf and along with Peter Schmeichel, but their personalities have been very hard to listen to. They're great players, but they're not like they're not Zlatan. Zlatan's got personality. He's got some flair, and these guys are about as dry as toast. Yeah. And I really want to listen to what they have to say, but they're just not so. It's like they're so dry. It's hard. All right, Theo, grade them.
C. I have to give Alexi Lawless a C plus because he was a former Galaxy man. He was in our '94 World Cup team, so he has my support on the field. But broadcasting, otherwise, they could do better. And don't forget, Zlatan was humbled by by Gooch also because when they squared up, Gooch didn't flinch with against Zlatan, and Zlatan got his rib fractured going up against Gooch. So that just shows something right there. Like Zlatan got humbled, but I love Zlatan because he played for the Galaxy and he's one hell of a guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's, I'm going to give him a B plus. I thought it was good. I'm a big Carly Lloyd fan. She's my favorite women's player of all time on the U.S. team. And the fact that she, on the last Women's World Cup and the next year's Women's World Cup, is going to be very critical of the USA is a good thing for everyone.
Yeah.
That's
World
my
Cup winners
observation.
have the biggest booming voice.
And yeah, she pissed off a lot of her former teammates the last World Cup going around, and I think she's going to keep continuing that into next year. Let's move on to another fun little thing. We're going to have an over/under forecast. Over/under 2 points for Uruguay versus Spain. Lief.
Under.
Okay. Do you think Uruguay can still get through the group with 3 points?
Let's see here. Who do they have to face? Oh yeah, Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia aren't going to make them fear too much. I can see Uruguay getting the single point, but Spain's going to win that one, man. Spain's going to win that one.
Okay. Theo.
I say they will draw.
Okay.
They will draw, honestly.
I will go under for a different reason. I think that Uruguay should be ashamed of themselves for how they have shown in this tournament. They should have at least 4 points. And that error, and I was texting Lief, I was talking to both of you between the Cape Verde Uruguay game. That mistake, the Uruguayan defense, someone should be fired. That was inexcusable, wouldn't you think?
Probably, but Cape Verde play their hardest and they show that they're an up-and-coming team.
And I'm not taking anything from Cape Verde, and we're going to talk about them shortly, but I just want to say, Uruguay, to me, has completely underachieved so far. Next one, over/under 4 red cards that the refs will issue for the remainder of the tournament. Theo.
4 red cards should probably carry over into the knockout stages as well.
Over/under?
Refs got to show probably under 2.
Okay. Lief?
Oh, I think you're going to see more reds. I think it's going to be over. I think you're going to see, as the games start getting to tighten up and things really matter, guys are going to start acting out. And somebody's going to do something. Somebody's going to cover their mouth. Somebody's going to do something. There's going to be a couple of tackles. It's just going to happen.
Okay.
I think it's going to happen.
Okay. I'm going to go under. I think someone's going to fuck up real bad. And that, with social media and how things are going about, someone's going to be made a poster child of. And that's how I think I'll see it. But Lief could be right. There could, depending on the physicality of some of these teams and other whatnots, it could happen. Let's move on to my favorite final over/under. Over/under 1 win in the knockout rounds between Belgium, Iran, Egypt, and New Zealand getting out of Group G. Lief, you go first.
Oh man, why do you want to put me on the spot?
1 win. This is the weakest group.
To be honest with you, Belgium is the only team that on paper should come away with a win besides Egypt, because Egypt's playing Iran. Mm-hmm. Belgium should be able to beat New Zealand, but I can actually see New Zealand getting a result out of this. Mm-hmm. I don't. Iran's not going to win. Belgium. I can see Belgium drawing and New Zealand drawing with Belgium. No, not 1 win. They're done.
Okay. No, you understand? We're not talking about the final group play match. We're talking whoever gets out of Group G.
Do they? No, they won't survive.
Yeah. There's no survivors after the round. Right. So you're going under. Theo.
Yeah, they're out.
Probably they're not going to survive. I'd probably say I'm shocked that Belgium's in 3rd right now. They should have been at least 1st, maybe 2nd, but 2 under, probably Belgium's it's gonna be a sacrificial lamb for some of the big teams coming up in the knockout rounds.
Well, I'm going to go under as well. Belgium absolutely is embarrassing. And if they were any good, and with us winning Group D, and if they had won Group G, and they could still do that, if they won their 32, they would meet the USA in Seattle in the round of 16. And if for some small Festivus miracle that happens, if the US play Belgium, I have the USA winning and winning big time. Lief told me Belgium's team just got older and not better. It sure looks like it, dude. So,
Yeah, I mean, I know they've brought in some younger guys, but that's just an older team. De Bruyne, Lukaku, these guys are still bouncing around there. Trossard, what is he, 30 something at this point in time? That's a team that's got a lot of experience, but Theo's not wrong. Listen, Egypt's got a really good team, and any team that's got Mohamed Salah on it is going to be dangerous and is going to get points. So I'm not going to try and take too much away from them. But Belgium shouldn't be sitting in third place.
right.
They shouldn't be looking up and going, "Oh crap, we've got to win this game to advance," or we've got to draw and then hope that Egypt steps up and beats out Iran, which they should do. But Belgium, they're done. They're toast.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next segment. It's called Buy or Sell. The first topic, we are not, sports should not be involved in politics and vice versa. But in the case of Iran has had a very difficult time. They were originally supposed to have their training facilities in Arizona, and it got moved to Mexico. Their matches are all on the West Coast and other whatnots. Some of their team personnel are not allowed to enter the United States. Some of them are stuck in Mexico. Before matches, their travel restrictions and other whatnots. The big question is this: Iran filed a grievance with FIFA as well as the U.S. government regarding these restrictions. Buy or sell? Do they have a legitimate beef? Theo?
No, they don't. Regretfully, they don't. I would say just let them come to the U.S. Give those players a chance to defect to the U.S. That's what I always hope for. Like they would at least one or two players would defect. They could tell us a horror story that's going on in the crappy regime they have them ruling in occupied Persia. But filing grievances is gonna fall on deaf ears. Regretfully, nothing's gonna happen. FIFA is just a sport. It's just a sports body. It's not like the ICC, which is pretty much another walking joke, in my opinion.
Okay, Lief, buy or sell?
I think from their point of view, yeah, they've got a beef. Do I give a crap? No, screw them. I don't give a shit. I'm old enough to remember 1979. I remember what's happened to the United States with them for basically our entire lives.
Sure.
And yeah, politics shouldn't be sports, but when you're at war with somebody and nobody wants to trust the other side and nobody wants to stop, I don't know, killing each other like a bunch of damn idiots, this stuff is going to happen. You're not going to be allowed into a country when you have a history of doing the things that you've got a history of doing.
Right.
Stop. This is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. Do you have a gripe? Sure you do. Does anyone care? No, get bent.
Yeah, he's right.
All right.
Go fuck a goat for all I care.
Let's move on. Buy or sell? Scotland having a legit shot of getting a result versus Brazil in Miami and possibly advancing to the round of 32. Lief, we'll start with you.
Not only do they have a chance, they've got a damn good chance of doing that. Listen, Brazil is not the Brazil that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
They are not this mystery nation that nobody's used to seeing all these spectacular players. They've all been seen. They've all gone through the European process. Vinicius Jr. plays football like a European and not like a Brazilian.
Yeah.
He might have some flair here and there, but he plays like a European. Brazil is there to be beaten. Now, Scotland, traditionally speaking, doesn't like to show up in these big games, but every once in a blue moon, they do. And I think this is one of those moments where you could see Scotland actually step up and maybe, just maybe, pull a draw. And if they're super, super lucky and Brazil goes to sleep, they could pull a win. Okay. 7-1 Germany, baby.
All right, Theo. Yeah. Theo, buy or sell? Buy or sell Scotland having a shot?
Buy. Scotland does have a chance. The way Brazil's playing right now with the last one game drawing, one game just barely getting the win, Yeah, I'm pretty much cheering for. Regretfully, I'm going to have to cheer for Scotland on this one because they've been pulling up, and they've been showing up as well.
Right.
That loss just didn't phase them, but that win just made them assured that we're still in this. The next game is going to be do or die for them.
Right. And with that, can we say Scotland should have the crowd advantage tomorrow in Miami? Or is it going to be 50-50, you think?
Yeah, it's going to be mostly Brazil, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lief?
Oh, I can't imagine Scotland having an advantage. No, not in stadium.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one. My favorite. Buy or sell. Who is going to buy a ticket on the hope train to Cape Verde, making it to the round of 32, given their final match is against Saudi Arabia, who, in my book, has underachieved again? Buy or sell. Cape Verde in the knockout rounds. Theo.
Possible. Cape Verde, them making to the knockout rounds, possible.
Yeah, right. All right. Lief?
I think it's very distinctly possible because I think they will beat Saudi Arabia, and I think Spain will go in and make an example of Uruguay.
Right.
And that will be the end of it. And that will be if Cape Verde gets a point and Uruguay gets nothing, it's over with.
Right.
So I see them making it.
All right. I see them making it too. And I'm not going to get ahead of myself, prior to our next Saturday's podcast after the group play wraps up. Depending on the matchup, who's to say that they couldn't be done? Cape Verde, that match against Spain, I admitted I was wrong. I predicted 8-0, and I was incredibly incorrect on that. But how Cape Verde came out offensively against Uruguay was impressive. They weren't playing an 8-1-1 and trying to get a shutout, a no score draw. I thought anytime they had a chance to push the ball, I thought they did. And I hope they continue that. And with that in mind, who's to say if they get through? Who's to say they're not done, depending on the matchup? So we will move on. Final segment regarding the host countries. Do you call anyone who thought Canada, Mexico, and the United States would all approach their final group matches undefeated? Would you call them a liar or an optimist? Lief?
Neither a liar nor an optimist, because I would have seen that. To me, as I was telling you the other day, when you are a host nation, first off, FIFA kind of gives you an easy group. Mm-hmm. They don't give you a whole lot of difficult games. So that's a given. Number two, as a host nation, and this to me is more importantly, you should be winning your bloody games. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there in front of your fans in your stadiums, in your homes, surrounded by as much love and as much attention as you can get. Mexico has no excuse to lose ever. Canada, well, it's Canada. But anyway, the United States, we should be winning these games. So to me, it should be a situation where the expectation for Canada, Mexico, and the United States coming into this was 9 points from their first 3 games. From there, it's all something else. It's all a different ball game.
Okay. All right, Theo. What do you got on that?
Optimistic. I want to be optimistic. I'm not surprised the U.S. is playing well. This is how the fans should turn out for all the U.S. games, especially when the U.S. is playing at home against Mexico, especially, for example. When the U.S. is playing Mexico, like in any either friendly, Gold Cup, or CONCACAF Cup, or Nations Cup, and they're playing here in the U.S., the fans should be turning up for the U.S., not for Mexico, because if the U.S. is playing here in L.A., it should be a home game for the U.S., not an away game for the U.S.
Right. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. The U.S. has nothing to play for. Mexico has nothing to play for. We kind of discussed, Canada's chances of getting a result versus Switzerland. We don't need to revisit that subject. Let's do something else to wrap this up. Let's talk about how this upcoming World Cup could possibly serve Major League Soccer and its product and its reputation worldwide moving forward. Now, Theo, I'm going to start with you. The MLS has grown in a good way. I'm never going to pretend it's going to be Premier League or Champions League, but the quality has really improved. What do you think this World Cup can do for MLS 5 years from now?
5 years from now, they're probably got in probably 5 years. We are going to have to adapt the relegation and promotion relegation system. In 2 years, they're going to be switching over to the European schedule, which is about damn time, in my opinion, because playing from the summer to the winter is complete bonkers, if you ask me. It will help us grow. It will also gather more attention for our local talent to be getting into soccer more.
Mm-hmm.
I think soccer academies or football academies for the rest of the world should be free. Playing soccer in the U.S. should not be a luxury. It should be free to play. Just get a ball, big patch of field, kick around. That's it. We shouldn't be paying thousands of dollars just to get our children to play into soccer. That's like unheard of.
Okay, Lief, I know you got an opinion on this. Where will MLS be 5 years from now, thanks to this World Cup?
Probably not too far from where they're at. I'm sure they would like to be different, but it really depends on the next generation of kids. And I feel like I've been saying this for 20 plus years. People my age and older, we're either into it or we're not. We're probably not going to adapt and we're not going to change. The more kids you get watching this, the more kids that you get, just like Theo said, going out and just physically playing. This pay-to-play crap, that's just piss poor. Mm-hmm. That is the dumbest idea in history. The reality is what should be setting us apart is that we have so many different cultural regions within the United States. Chicago is not like LA. LA is not like Atlanta. Atlanta is not like Kansas City. It's not like New York. We've got all these different things. It's a huge melting pot. And you've got all these kids. Can you imagine if we had guys like LeBron, for Christ's sake? If LeBron was our striker, that's a game changer. But the best athletes in the United States, they play basketball, they play hockey, they play football, they play basketball. They don't play our soccer or European football. Right. And so to me, what it really comes down to is the MLS going to be better off? I don't know. Are they going to get the 5-year-olds paying attention? Are they going to get the 5 to 10-year-olds who just completely become impassioned by this? And by 15, all they're doing every night is just kicking a ball around, trying to be as good as bending it like Beckham, even though they have no idea who the hell that is at this point in time.
Right.
You know, who's going to be the superstar that inspires these kids to keep going? Is it going to be somebody like Messi? That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But is it really going to kick on? Well, I think they've done amazing since 94. Mm-hmm. I think 5 years is a little bit too short. I think 10 years is a better window. Okay. But I think it really comes down to just get the kids. If you get the kids, the future is going to be fine. You do need relegation. You need to get rid of the special star system that, no offense, gives LA every single badass player that's ever played in the league for their retirement fund. It's not fair to the rest of the league, and it's not fair to the small clubs to sit there and look at Messi in Miami and Zlatan out in LA and everyone going to either LA or New York or Miami. Even my beloved TT went to New York. You know, it isn't like these guys are coming out and playing out in the Midwest. So you have to do something to where if you want guys like me that are Premier League and Champions League first and foremost, and I like the MLS, but it gets on my bloody nerves. If you want guys like me to pay attention to the MLS, you have to make it to where the only real difference is money. You either have it or you don't. LA's got money. I can understand and appreciate that. That's why the Dodgers are like the Dodgers are and the Royals are like the Royals are. But when you gift them all the star players whose talent is loads ahead of everybody else playing for Sporting Kansas City, it's a joke.
It's a joke.
So do I. I'm a Giants fan. I mean, I'm a Royals fan, but I'm a Giants fan.
I can vouch for that.
The Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers.
Okay, let me get back to Theo. With Lief being from the Midwest, can you understand why he has a legitimate kind of a rubbing the wrong way on how the bigger markets are getting the premier players, albeit in their retirement years? In Sporting Kansas City, Minnesota United, St. Louis, they got no shot at them. Can you understand?
Well, yeah, but let's not forget, though, we got the really bad designated player in the form of Steven Gerrard. I mean, that guy was a complete, total anvil in the lake. I mean, his exit from the Premier League was mwah, chef's kiss, epic, getting tossed 30 seconds in his final game against his most hated rivals, Manchester United. I mean, come on, and then just give us his leftover years in LA. Come on. I mean, why couldn't he have gone to the Midwest teams at least?
See, all right, Leif, I know you got an opinion on that.
Listen, the only guy that's come to the Midwest that I'm aware of was Bastian Schweinsteiger, who went to Chicago Fire. And I'm not a Chicago Fire fan, so that ain't gonna get me too excited. No,
Right.
listen, I appreciate where Theo's coming from. That's a Manchester United versus Liverpool situation, and I don't blame him for not wanting Steven Gerrard. As an Arsenal fan, there's a lot of guys that play for Tottenham and Chelsea that no, that ain't gonna happen. No
Right.
thanks.
All
We
right.
got linked with Kane, and I was like, no, Kane. I don't want Kane. No.
Okay. All right, Theo, your final thought. Going into the final group matches.
Final group matches is gonna cheer my heart out for the U.S. Gonna cheer for Portugal as well. It's about time Portugal woke up in the second game they played. Ronaldo should have been brought that energy in the first game as well, but since he's already in his 40s and still running on fumes now, I'm hoping that they get a better result in the last game, and refs should pay attention to what Messi's doing because he's getting way too much leniency, and he gets away with crime. I mean, if I can bet on it, I say Messi could go up to the Pope on Sunday Mass on Easter Sunday, slap the Pope, and get away with it at the Vatican.
All right, Leif, you got a tough act to top. He laid it out pretty good.
I don't know how to top that one out. God, what am I looking forward to? Listen, at this point in time, I'm just really pleased with the amount of games that I've seen so far. I think the level of play has been pretty decent. By and large, there's been a few stinkers, but by and large, everybody's played pretty well. I came into this not wanting to see 48 teams, thought it was kind of stupid. At this point in time, it's kind of winning me over. Cape Verde is just one of those examples where you're seeing somebody that has no business getting results, and I think that's fantastic. But listen, I'm going to be cheering for Team USA because I can't cheer for Team Italy.
Yeah,
but
Okay.
hey, you can't win them all. So
Right.
listen, I'll be
Right.
rooting against Brazil because I don't want them to get any further ahead of Italy, and go USA.
Right.
yeah, go USA.
Yeah, I'm with that. Go USA. We'll see you guys Saturday night.
See you folks
You got
Saturday.
it.
See ya.
Peace.